Hello and welcome to this Monday edition of the Hopkinton Hangout Hour. I am your host for today's show, Matt Clark. And joining me today is supposed to be my good friend Alex Kirshy, who has been on the show multiple times today, but he is running a little bit late, but that's okay. Today we're going to be talking about something that's a little bit on the funner side. With quarantine is obviously still going on. The threat of coronavirus is still rather serious. But America and a lot of the rest of the world is beginning to open back up more and more as time goes on and as we get more into the fall. And I think one of the things that people have been completely unable to do, but may or may not start doing again in the future, is going to the movies. And a few months ago, me and my friends, including Alex, we talked about the Marvel movies and how two of them were supposed to come out in the last couple of months, but they have not. But Marvel obviously isn't the only company making movies, as much as it feels like that sometimes. And so one of the things we were hoping to talk about today is just any movies that we wanted to see when in the last couple months that we were excited about for whatever reason, but they either got delayed or perhaps sometimes they just switched to a digital release and they did perfectly well. And Bob, is Alex there yet? Is he coming in yet?
He's not in the waiting room yet. No.
That's okay. He let me know that he's on his way. His internet crashed. That's completely fine. So we'll just talk a little bit about anyone. Was there any movies that you were looking forward to this year that you didn't get to see?
No, actually, there aren't any movies. But you know what I'm really sad about? I'm really sad about all the production being pushed back. I'm waiting for the Obi-Wan show. I'm waiting for the next Star Trek Picard. And, everything's shut down. Although I did hear that Obi-Wan may start production next month in September. So.
Oh, that's fantastic. I didn't
Yeah.
hear about that.
That is good.
Yeah.
Oh, Alex, there you are.
Sorry about that, guys.
No, it happens. I'm glad you could make it. So we were just talking briefly, Alex, about movies that we were excited to see. Obviously, me and you saw a lot of movies together.
Yeah.
All happened. But there was a lot of movies we were excited to see that we just didn't get a chance to. So anything pop in your mind first that you were excited about but didn't get to enjoy?
Well, they shifted a lot of release dates, right?
A lot.
Well, the thing is, okay, so I'm an AMC A-list member. This is not sponsored by AMC A-list, but it meant that I try to go see like every movie I can, because I like seeing movies. And the problem is that I wanted to see every movie, kind of, right? I mean, so quarantine started right after Onward came out, and right after um, right after Invisible Man left theaters. And I know this because I saw both of those on the same day, which was the last thing I went and did before quarantine started.
We saw Onwards together, but I was not there for
Scoob.
Invisible Man.
I was excited about Scoob.
Scooby-Doo movie, yeah.
But Scoob you can watch on demand now. I haven't watched it yet though, because I figured we would watch it at some point.
Yes, no, exactly. That was one of the ones I was hoping to talk about because it did get released digitally. It did not wait for a theatrical release.
Which is both a good and bad thing, it turns out, for movies, because that happened to a lot of movies. But the first sort of animated movie to like sort of try it out on a non-Disney type platform was Trolls World Tour, a film I did not see,
yep.
but which made staggeringly more money than it would have if it had gone to theaters. Apparently,
that is
the thing about how that movie ended up going. Which, first of all, means we've had a complete demographic shift since the early 2000s, where on-demand and digital sales weren't even considered for the sake of lifespans of TV shows and movies and things, which is why shows like Arrested Development and Firefly and stuff ended up getting canceled most of the time, was because people that watched them either watched them on demand later, and on demand was a new service, or people would sort of later buy DVDs. The first television show to ever be revived purely on the basis of DVD sales was Family Guy, of all things, which came back because the people at the network thought it was terrible at Fox, thought the show was not doing well. And then it sold more DVDs than like any show they'd ever made. So then all of a sudden people were like, oh, we should bring Family Guy back. And now Family Guy has long outstayed its welcome as a television show. But
I did not know that, and that's funny to me because I was introduced to Family Guy at a far younger age than I should have, but I have two brothers who are quite a few years older than me, so it makes sense. I think I was like 9 or 10 when I started watching Family Guy, and it was because we had DVDs of the early seasons. So that's really funny. I did not know that. And I would just like to say before we continue with our conversation that if you're watching on Facebook or on YouTube, or in anywhere, we would love to hear your thoughts and your comments about this. So absolutely send us a comment with whatever movie you were excited to see and you didn't get to see.
There was, so Mulan.
Oh
the Mulan remake, which is coming out to Disney Plus actually now, which they weren't originally going to do, but they realized that because there's no end in sight, they were like, okay, we're not going to be able to wait till a theatrical release, which I think similar to what they did with
Black Widow.
Yeah, which is also something that they were like, and with Wonder Woman 84 and which while we're talking about movies, doing that? Well, here's the thing. So DC Fandom, I feel like I'm a walking ad right now because I've been checking out where all these movies are coming out. DC Fandom is like DC's big like fan event that they're doing in lieu of a traditional Comic-Con this year. And they're showing Wonder Woman 84 and the Justice League Snyder cut and like new episodes or like first episodes of new seasons of a lot of the DC shows and stuff early. Mm-hmm. But it's also like a free access event. So I don't know if there's like then sub tickets you have to buy to watch like Wonder Woman or something, because I just don't know what this is, and this is not the time for that. Like people can look that up if they want. But the point is like Wonder Woman 84 will be viewable like a week and a half from now in some form or another. So they'll probably end up streaming it somewhere soon after that.
You know, and also I saw that Black Widow, among other movies, are going to be offered on Disney Plus for like $30.
Yeah.
Which seems like a lot, but I guess that's just the price of a DVD.
I mean, what's weird about it is, do you own them? Because Disney Plus isn't an ownership-based format. If you're renting the movie as like this is a replacement for a film setup, which, by the way, I mean, that's the real, I think, that's the hard thing about movies being released exclusively through streaming is that it's just not like seeing it in a theater. I think that doesn't matter to some people, and that's, I think, frankly, good for them that they can, but their movie experience is profoundly impacted by where I get to see things, and I try to see things in theaters. But
I mean,
if you can't, you can't. Like, it's not like.
I mean, I feel like if we as friends get like I don't know. Hypothetically, if we got like a small group of like at least 3 people and we like pitched in, then we each paid like $10 to watch it together, then it's essentially like going to see a movie.
That's the answer to kind of what I'm getting at, is that like it is essentially like going to a movie. The question is Disney going to, like, if it's like a weird thing where they've appended onto Disney Plus this new system wherein you can spend money on a specific movie release and then you get it permanently added to your Disney Plus library, much more like an Amazon or a I don't know, iTunes movies, whatever that's called, Apple movies. Then that's at least something. I do feel like it may set a dangerous precedent, which is not, again, what you called me on here to talk about, but it might set a dangerous precedent with Disney was doing their like big releases onto Disney Plus as essentially a way of pitching people on Disney Plus, right? Mm-hmm. Like, oh, the COVID-19, let's put Onward on Disney Plus as part of its library. Then all of a sudden people buy Disney Plus so that they can watch new movies. But then if they start charging for that, and Frozen 2 also was huge in that way. If they start charging for the new movies that come to Disney Plus, then couldn't they just do that with all new movies that come to Disney Plus? Also, couldn't they be like, oh, Mando season 2, you have to spend like $5 if you want to watch it in the first week, but then after that it's free or whatever. Couldn't they start doing things like that? And I think that
They absolutely could.
it's very difficult to recoup to streaming. How streaming is like is what sort of looking for funded may as well be physiognomy to me. I have no understanding of how how Netflix like makes money. But then you read about it. Like I've tried to read all of those different things that are like, this is how Netflix's monetization works. The difference is that we're talking about Disney, who is somebody who could definitely afford to produce and then put The Mandalorian on like it's got to be one of the highest budget streaming shows ever, if not the highest budget streaming show ever. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. I still haven't seen The Mandalorian myself.
We'll watch it. We're gonna watch it soon.
No, we'll watch it. I do want to.
It's really good.
I just don't have access to a Disney Plus account personally. So
Mandalorian budget. Now I'm interested, but I'll check that later. That's not part of the show. I mean, Wonder Woman 84, I was hugely excited about. Black Widow, I was very excited about because of all my various theories. I mean, Tenet, while we're on the topic of movies that have had their release date widely shifted.
Which one was that?
That's the Christopher Nolan joint. It's like sort of a spy film. I'm not saying anything else about it because anybody who's watched the trailers knows how cool it looks, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody. And it feels like any discussion of that movie's concept feels inherently like a spoiler to me. I mean, that's what's interesting is a lot of sort of streaming platforms are coming out to snatch up a lot of these movies. Also, one thing that's very interesting is, I'm so sorry, I lost track of what I was thinking of. Bill and Ted 3 comes out in a couple weeks.
Oh yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was supposed to come out in theaters this upcoming weekend, and then they were like, all right, let's just stream it because that's the only way anyone's going to see it. Same is true of no, that movie hasn't been moved actually.
Which one?
The King's Man, the Kingsman's prequel.
Oh yeah, I feel like they make those movies really quickly nowadays.
The Candyman film was bumped to no, dude, Golden Circle was like 3 years ago.
Really?
Yeah, Kingsman: The Golden Circle came out in 2017.
The sequel to the original movie?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Kingsman: The Secret Service came out in 2014. It's a 3-year cycle on making those.
Okay, wow. Okay, yeah, that tracks.
I'm only gonna say this name exactly once, but the Candyman movie was supposed to come out in June. The Jordan Peele scripted Candyman film, but it's coming out. Yeah, I can't say it any more times, but it's coming out in October now, which feels like a more appropriate release window anyway. But I don't know. Probably Daniel Craig's final James Bond movie was supposed to come out in April.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I knew about that.
A lot of things have been. It was a year that was going to be huge. Dune is supposed to come out this year, which I'm not even starting to think about. I mean, the Eternals was supposed to come out November and is now coming out February.
No, it was July.
Oh, that's true. And then it was delayed to November, and now it's been delayed to February apparently. Upcoming Disney produced apparently horror film Antlers, which I'm quite excited about.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah.
Morbius the Living Vampire was supposed to come out apparently this summer, but there's no way that was because of COVID that was delayed, because I don't think that movie's done at all.
It had a trailer. That one was another Sony created superhero movie, Morbius being a Spider-Man villain / anti-hero, right? Yeah. It takes place in the quote unquote Venom verse, which may or may not be part of the larger MCU, where
which is both legally distinct from and legally connected to the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
You know, man, if it wasn't for the fact that Marvel's selling out characters to movie rights literally saved the company back in the 2000s, I would say it sucks that so many different companies owned so many Marvel properties, and that Marvel themselves was kind of stuck to just the Avengers, which were B-rated at best superheroes before the MCU.
I mean, to be fair, they were the flagship team of Marvel Comics, though.
Yeah, but like, if you look at like like if you look at like the Marvel poster, like of like the main poster of like the Marvel characters from the mid 2000s, the characters that are at the front of that are Spider-Man, the X-Men, the Fantastic Four. Like the Avengers are pretty far at the front, but now they're not front and center like they are now. That's my
I
point.
guess I would argue that the Avengers were front and center from a comic book universe perspective, but that the X-Men's popularity always puts the X-Men further ahead
Oh no,
in the public eye.
that's what I'm talking about.
I guess. I think that part of what it is that the X-Men are. I think that it's hard to pitch modern audiences on superhero teams that are strongly sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Sort of silver agey superhero teams. Like I think that modern audiences have issues with the concept of something like the Justice League or the Avengers, and that the Marvel Cinematic Universe actually I think I can credit hugely with making people feel sort of more unironically good about that sort of not gritty superhero team concept. Because I think that like the Justice League has huge legs in the modern world, right? Like the Justice League as aspirational figures, as interesting characters, as sort of a testament to the historical combination of sort of even just from a writing perspective, the combination of themes and concepts, all of which predated the team. Whereas the X-Men has always had the benefit of being sort of an evergreen team in that they can connect to and isolate issues of the day because the X-Men are overtly concerned with prejudice. And because the X-Men are overtly concerned with prejudice, the X-Men are, I mean, say what you want about, it's tragic that themes of prejudice have to be evergreen themes, but they are evergreen themes. And because of that, the X-Men have always done well. Also, I think people appreciate that they mostly existed as a cogent team, like they were created to be together, which I think means that they have a more clear group identity than the Avengers or the Justice League. But I don't know.
I think one of the problems with both of those teams, but less so the Avengers than the Justice League, is that the characters often feel like they're from just completely different worlds.
Yeah, because they were. I mean, that's kind of the idea, is that they were created separately from one another. They weren't created as the Avengers, whereas the X-Men were mostly created as the X-Men.
Yeah, like Marvel feels much more grounded in a real world than the DC world does. But even then, you still so you have like Iron Man, who's a normal guy who's really smart and builds armor. You have Captain America, who's a super soldier. But then you have Thor, who's the god of lightning. And so he kind of doesn't really fit, but he does fit because they make it work. But then you have the Justice League, and you have Batman, who's
a god. You have Superman, who is a functional god. You have Wonder Woman, who is explicitly kind of a god or a demigod. Aquaman, who is not a god, but who is a king.
Yeah, but it's just like, so
is the most grounded Justice League member is Batman.
Yes.
Which is already not a grounded character.
I mean, a Batman could exist in the real world, but I mean, so far no billionaires have decided to become Batman, so.
Also, if your second most grounded hero, Hawkman, is an alien man who is also a hawk, I think that you're in a situation where you can talk about. But they're mythological figures, right? And I tend to think of all superheroes as not American myths, because superheroes are not uniquely American, but like they're like a subset of folkloric like mythologia, right? Where they have mythic cores that you can then like adapt into various concepts. Something I talk about all the time, so I'm sorry to belabor you with this all the time, but something I'm interested in. But then if you look at them separate, like separate from any kind of is a superhero a mythic figure, all of the Justice League heroes are still mythic figures inside of mythic figures, right? Like there's way less mythic DC heroes, but the Justice League are not them. Like the Justice League reminds you of sort of Golden Age halls and like Art Deco, like what's the word I'm looking for? Like sanctums, you know what I mean? Like that's what DC's about with that team's image. And frankly, that's what they should be about with that team's image, which is why I think the consistent attempts to reconstruct the Justice League as like a dark thing or tell a dark DC story or a dark Superman story fundamentally misses the point of the character.
I agree with you. And just to get us back on the track of movies.
Yeah, sorry.
Because we've talked. No, it's fine. It happens.
The Eternals are going to do wonders for this, by the way, if they do the Eternals right, because the Eternals are exactly what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, no, we've just talked a lot about, Marvel movies and comics in the past, so I want to stay at least a little bit on topic. But the Justice League Snyder Cut is coming out, as you previously mentioned.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, I am so curious of what that movie is going to be, but I am so afraid.
I definitely want to watch it. I wanted to watch the half an hour extra footage for Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice, but I never got a chance to do that.
Yeah, we should do that beforehand.
Yeah, I mean that movie you can only like rent that cut of it. I mean, I think you can only buy that cut of it actually. Like I couldn't rent the director's cut of that movie when I tried one time.
Well, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, that's not necessarily the most interesting, but I don't know.
Yeah,
It's like,
I mean, me and you are in kind of the small camp of people who like Justice League.
yeah, I liked that movie.
I like that movie.
It's not a perfect movie. It has some
No.
great lines. It has some really interesting character moments. There are sort of whole sections of it that don't need to exist, and some sections of it that need to be really added onto. And it's kind of unclear why certain characters are in the movie, and it's kind of unclear why certain other characters aren't in the movie. And it's just,
yeah, I don't know. It's just
it externalizes
I
conflict in a weird way.
Yeah, I just want another Justice League movie because the movie is clearly setting up Darkseid, who's like the ultimate DC villain. I mean, he is basically DC's Thanos, but he came first. Did he? Do you know? I think so. I'm not sure. I'm not certain.
I'm almost certain, but I'll check.
Yeah, they're very similar characters, but
Darkseid can shoot lasers out of his eyes, though. So
yes. But the only Justice League movie we've ever gotten has Steppenwolf as a villain. And I feel like cosmically that can't be allowed to stay true forever.
Wait,
and so like, yeah. Is Thanos older than Darkseid?
No, Thanos is exactly 3 years younger than Darkseid.
Okay. So almost so close that that they're just coincidentally similar.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They set it up, and then if the movie never happens, but the DC Universe movies like Wonder Woman 84 and all these other movies that might be coming continue to come, then there's this weird like hanging Chad of Steppenwolf came and was like, Darkseid's coming, and then Darkseid never comes.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the first hanging plot thread from a superhero movie.
I mean, that's certainly true. I just don't want them to leave that one hanging for all of the the DC expanded universe, the DCEU.
Yeah.
Extended.
I mean, DC movies have been famously bad, but in the past they've been pretty good. Some of the better ones have come out in the last couple of years. Wonder Woman was good. Shazam was really fun.
Apparently, Shazam's director teased the next movie a couple days ago.
Shazam 2?
Yeah.
Or Black Adam?
I think Shazam 2. But also Black Adam, whenever that comes out. I'm excited about that.
That's supposed to be soon.
It really is.
Featuring The Rock.
Yeah. Feed Dwayne The Rock Johnson as Black Adam. December 2021, apparently.
For Black Adam?
Yeah.
Yeah, that.
Which, at the rate time is speeding along, will be next week. You know what's insane to me? Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn came out this year.
You mean Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey?
No, I mean Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn.
It's the better title.
It's the real title. Luckily, they did officially call it that when it came to streaming and like purchasable platforms. Like that's what it's called on the DVDs. They only changed it to Harley Quinn Birds of Prey because nobody knew who the Birds of Prey were and wouldn't go see the movie.
I mean, that's not unfair, but it's like a really good movie.
Oh, Bloodshot. I wanted to see Bloodshot. And then that...
Which one is that?
That was the Vin Diesel joint based on a comic.
Wow.
Based on a Valiant Comics character. And I think Valiant Comics' attempt to start a Valiant cinematic universe, which, no joke, is a great idea.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Valiant Comics. Oh my God, I just remembered Godzilla vs. Kong was supposed to come out.
That was supposed to come out soon.
It was supposed
Was
to come
that
out in
delayed because of
March.
this, though? Was that
No.
delayed because of this? That was
I
delayed
mean-
because it was being delayed.
It was supposed to come out in like February or March, and then it got moved to November, like in the fall.
Now it's officially coming out May of next year, I think.
Okay, that's not too bad.
Yeah, May 21st.
We're gonna have to get Sean for a real geek week when that movie's coming out.
100%.
And because we had the fun live one last fall, and we should absolutely do that again for Godzilla, because that's me, you, and his thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've seen all of those movies.
Truly
together.
it is. Truly wild. There are 36 canon Godzilla movies, and then a bunch of related and adjacent Toho pictures.
That number seems low.
Well, when you think about 36 movies worth of hours of movie back to back, and that's just the movies that are Godzilla movies. That's not counting
okay, yeah, that's fair.
the Rodan movie or 1956's Rodan, which I think is the first one of these movies I ever saw. I think that the first like original Toho kaiju movie I ever saw was Rodan, which is a crazy movie.
I've never seen any.
In the United States, it was retitled Rodan! The Flying Monster! And then was in 1959 re-released on a double bill with a movie called Godzilla Raids Again in the United States, but apparently called originally Gigantus the Fire Monster in America.
Was Rodan always fire themed?
Rodan was always vaguely fire themed. He was more
I didn't know if that was
themed than anything else.
I didn't know if that was just a creation of the new movie to give him like something extra to do.
Oh, he was the first kaiju movie ever shot in color. Anyway, this is not again what we were discussing.
Well, I love those movies. The only Godzilla movie I saw before the new American ones was the 1998, I think. Godzilla
American
movie,
one, yeah,
American.
that's a lot of fish.
Yeah, and that movie scared me as a kid. And I never wanted to see any other Godzilla movies. And then as like a preteen, I saw a documentary on Animal Planet about Godzilla movies. And I was like, what? Godzilla's the hero in those movies in Japan? That's awesome.
Matthew Broderick, Jean Reno. I was thinking that as a Jean Reno joint. Leon the Professional himself. Hank Azaria is in the movie.
Really?
Wait, so is Harry Shearer. There are multiple Simpsons cast members in the movie Godzilla in 1998.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Well, but so then in like 2014, when a bunch of our friends and we got together to go see Godzilla, I was with you guys because I wanted to hang out, but I did not want to go see Godzilla.
Yeah.
And we had to go to like 3 different theaters because they were all sold out of Godzilla. And I was like, good, maybe we won't get to see it. And I was watching the movie. And
inclement spoilers for Godzilla 2014, I think, by the way. So
I won't say anything too bad, but I was just like watching the movie and I was like, this is so stupid. I can't believe it. And then like Godzilla shows up and I'm like, wait, Godzilla's the hero in this movie? And it was one of like 2 big moments in my life where like something like a deep love that I didn't know I had was just activated. And I thought to myself, yeah, okay, I'll devote my life to this. The other one being when I went to see the Avengers for the first time in 2012. And God, like those movies are just so cool. And like maybe they're not the greatest movies ever. Like I would never claim them to be. I think I'm like among the least critically acclaiming of our friends when it comes to movies. I can definitely just enjoy a movie for what it is.
Yeah.
And then think about, okay, that's why it wasn't that great, but I still enjoyed my time with it. Those movies are just pure adrenaline, and it's great.
I mean, the thing about them is that they're really good at hitting the beats and moments that they have to hit
exactly
to make what they clearly care about being effective. I think that one of the most difficult things to make somebody do in a giant monster movie, like in a kaiju movie in general, is to make you care about the human characters at all, because you're there for something other than the human characters. And I think that that's sort of different from what the original intention of kaiju movies was, but it's something that's become steadily more difficult as they've been created. Whereas I think that I don't know if Godzilla 2014 made me really care about anybody in it except for Bryan Cranston.
I mean, that's all
But
I heard about it. I didn't even really know who Bryan Cranston was at
I
the
can
time.
say for a fact that I do care about the characters in Kong Skull Island. I really care about the characters. I think it's the best one. It's the best one of the new movies in terms of making you just care about the characters. And Godzilla King of the Monsters, weird thing to call the third movie in your franchise, but okay. I also do care about a lot of the human characters. I would still say not as much as I care about the human characters in Kong Skull Island, which I think
But
is
it's
like
better than Godzilla.
yeah. I mean, in 2014's Godzilla, they never mind. I'm not gonna say this because this is a spoiler for the movie, but there's a lot of
there's
like
a reason the main characters don't show back up.
there's a lot of threads from Godzilla 2014 in terms of what characters' skills are and why they're in the movie that then end up being left hanging because we don't need them. So there's like so we're told we're going to need a character the whole movie and then we don't need that character, and that's just not how you're supposed to write characters like that, I think. I don't know. But apparently, in terms of DCEU movies that are confirmed, Wonder Woman 1984 is coming out this year still.
It's coming out soon.
Suicide Squad comes out early next year. The Batman and Black Adam are all currently on schedule to come out next year.
Good.
Then in 2022, The Flash, Shazam 2, and Aquaman 2. And then there's other things that are in development but don't have set release dates. As of recently, all these movies have release dates.
I'm surprised the Flash movie is still coming out.
I'm not surprised a Flash movie is still coming out. Just gonna put it that way.
Yeah. I thought I heard something about that movie recently, but I can't think of what it was.
Its date was moved in June 2020, so the movie is still coming out.
Yeah, no, because it was supposed to come out in between Aquaman and Shazam, or after Shazam.
I heard a weird thing about
Justice
that movie
League
that
2.
I heard a weird thing about the movie that I wish I hadn't heard about it, so I'm gonna stop thinking about it.
Okay.
So just there might be a thing in it.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I think the thing to remember to think is like we were going to see a lot of movies this year, and we did actually see quite a few movies in the
true.
Like 2.5 months we were able to see. We saw the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, which because no other movies are coming out, might still get movie of the year.
I've seen some other movies this year that came out this year that I really liked.
No, that was a surprisingly good movie because of how much hate it got with Sonic's design, and
as I expected, Jim Carrey's great in it.
Yeah, always had faith in him. He was gonna be the reason I saw it, even if they kept the bad design of Sonic. Also, video game movies are just never good,
except apparently sometimes, yeah.
Because Detective Pikachu last year was also pretty good.
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe Illumination's Mario is going to be really good.
Still have no idea how that movie is going to go.
He has to not talk, right?
Exactly.
We don't have the ability
no more
to
than like
he has to be like, oh, mamma mia.
Yeah.
To be fair, they made him talk a little more in a couple of the weirdly older video games. He used to talk more than he does now, which is weird. Unlike Wario, who used to talk a little bit, then talked the most of anybody in the Game Boy era, where he had the most lines in his games, and then in his most recent appearance in a video game was fully voiced. And it's nothing is weirder than hearing Wario be like, so I went to do the micro game tournament and then I had a good time. And it's like, Wario, you're not supposed to speak in full sentences. That is not the point of the 4 voices that Charles Martinet does.
Yeah.
Except he does more than that, I think, because he does all 4 of them.
Mario, Luigi, Wario, and Waluigi.
Yes. I think he might also be Toad, though.
I think
he's Toad's Worth.
Oh, that's it. I mean, who knows if any of these characters besides like Mario and probably Luigi will even
I think
be
Wario
in the Mario
has
movie.
To show up in the movie. And I think Luigi has to show up in the movie.
I mean, yeah, we say that because we're Mario fans, but like I guarantee you Wario won't show up in that movie.
You guarantee me? Oh, I would absolutely put invisible money on the fact that he will. I think
invisible money, absolutely.
He is one of the most popular characters in the Mario franchise.
Trust me, Alex, I want to be wrong in that. It's like I am, like I said, I'm super curious about what the Super Mario Brothers movie is going to be. I hope it is animated, right?
But yeah, it's Illumination. It's people who did
Despicable
Me.
Yeah, so that's great. I'm just kind of surprised Nintendo even greenlit a movie because
I mean, they did one with Detective Pikachu. Like they're
Detective Pikachu isn't controlled by
Yes, it is.
Miyamoto, who famously doesn't like story. That's not the point.
Well, the thing isn't like it's that he yeah. I mean, he's got. I mean, to be fair, they used to be very loose actually with it because of that, right? Like that's why they made multiple Super Mario TV shows and stuff. Is that Miyamoto just sort of didn't
True.
care? Like Miyamoto's willing to let different weird things happen with that brand outside of the video games, which I think is like a weird,
I mean,
weird line to draw.
it also won't be the first Super Mario movie because
Rabbids,
Super Mario Bros.
dude. Which, by the way, I still like emotionally like watching.
You know,
I think that I think
as a
Bob
kid.
Hoskins is a good casting choice for Mario. I think John Leguizamo is a weirder casting choice for Luigi, but I still like him in the movie.
I need to see it again because I saw it when I was a little kid and I was like, they made a Super Mario movie.
Dennis
Wow!
Hopper is King Koopa.
Yeah, weird choices all around. Princess
Um,
Daisy being in the movie and not Princess Peach.
mhm.
Oh god,
Frank Welker is the Yoshi and the Goombas. Dan Castellaneta is in the film.
So who knows what a Super Mario movie would be? Like,
Yes,
I just can't imagine. I hope Wario's in it. By the way,
I think he's going to be. I think he's going to be in it.
I
think it's going to be honestly. I think it's going to be like a It's going to be like a what's it called? A Wreck-It Ralph situation where a bunch of characters just show up for like a half second. Like he may not even be like voiced in the movie, but we may see him like shaking a Goomba for money or something at some point. To be fair,
okay, that could be fun.
I think he's going to be in the movie like as a character, but he's not going to be the villain of the movie. They might do I think my optimal Mario movie roughly looks like Mario. Maybe they make a few stylistic like small changes. I don't necessarily want them to, but I think that they're going to because like they're an animation studio. Apparently, they've always worked historically remotely, so they say that movie is still making good progress.
Oh wow, good for them.
But like the step of it's Mario, and he teams up with his traditional allies to fight Bowser, right? But then, like right, like 2/3 of the way into the movie, beginning of Act 3, Bowser's like, "Wait, I didn't do this. That guy did this." And then it's like, oh, big other villain, and then they have to team up with Wario, Waluigi, Bowser, and the whole like good cast to go. I mean, if Waluigi's in the movie, I'd be shocked, but also he should be in the movie.
Yeah, he should. I mean,
if the
agree.
Illumination movie, if the Illumination movie is the thing that finally gives Waluigi a cogent enough identity in Nintendo's mind to give him a video game, I'm okay with it. I think that Waluigi has a cogent enough identity. He cheats, he's good at using machines, and he's better at sports than any of the others, because it used to be canon that Waluigi was the best at sports, which is why in the Game & Watch re-release where they made all the characters like other Nintendo characters, you box against a bunch of opponents, and then you box at the end against Waluigi, and there's no implication that Waluigi cheats or anything. He's just better at boxing than every other Mario character in canon. Maybe even Donkey Kong, except Donkey Kong has the strength over him, so.
Yeah, he does.
This is really off topic at this point, but the Illumination movie's got to exist.
Yeah.
And it has to be have Wario in it.
Like I said, I just don't know what that movie is going to be. If it hits the like the beats of a normal movie, then that means there's probably going to be some form of Mario origin. And it's going to be Mario like coming to terms as Super Mario and like defeating Bowser in the end. But again, I have no idea what that movie's going to be. And I can't think of anything that isn't just wacky. Yeah.
But hey, Super Mario Sunshine's re-release may be coming, so.
Yeah, a lot of things may be coming. We can't talk about that right now, though. So I think that's just about all the time we have for this. You know, we talked about a lot of movies. And you know what? They'll all come out eventually soon. Sooner or later, they'll be on digital or released in the theaters because things will get back to at least some form of normalcy.
And hopefully movie theaters will still exist after.
Yes. Oh, that was something I wanted to talk about. Oh, well.
Well, just so you know, AMC has like managed to struggle partially through by letting you rent movies and stream them off of their app. They like rebuilt their app into a streaming service.
That's good.
They also intend on reopening soon, but it is my official position that we shouldn't go to them yet.
Yeah, I agree with you. But anyway, I want to thank everyone so much for watching, especially just, me and Alex ramble about movies and things tangentially related to movies. So once again, thank you everyone so much for watching, and we will see you all next time on the Hangout Hour. And yeah,
Support your local drive-ins.
support your local drive-ins and your local theaters, and goodbye.